I discovered 3 years ago that my husband had a secret life with multiple affairs, and I chose to stay.
A woman shared how God saved her marriage after her husband had multiple affairs. Here we go again. I think there's a lady that came. Oh yeah, there's a woman that came and say, "Oh, God restored her marriage. That she was trending." Da 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 da. So more Christian women are coming out to share stories of how God restored their marriage after their husband had multiple affairs, and she did just a short clip, which is about 9 minutes, talking about how she saw Jesus and she had to give her husband a second chance. And she gave him some rules and regulation. These are the things and some boundaries. Like if you cross these boundaries, these are the things that is gonna happen. Da 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 da. So because of the cheating, at the end of the day, she said because of the cheating, that he had brought them closer together, make their marriage stronger. Let me roll the video for you all to watch to the end, and I'll share my thoughts at the end of the video.
I discovered 3 years ago that my husband had a secret life with multiple affairs, and I chose to stay. So it's taken me a long time to want to share my story because I wanted to see what would happen going forward after I set boundaries, and I think I'm ready to share my story. Just a trigger warning, this is probably going to be very triggering if you have been in a situation where someone has cheated on you, or you've been married to had a partner that has had an affair on you. But I want to share my story because when I went through this, there were so few stories that gave me any kind of hope for healing. And even my counselor at the time said that I had a 1% chance of my relationship and my marriage actually working out. My husband and I had been married 12 years when I discovered everything, and it was like a bus hit my life. It was like I just went into complete shock. This was never going to happen to me. I had aimed to be the perfect wife, to fulfill all my husband's needs, to be the kind of like wife that had dinner ready, stayed home with the kids, picked the kids up, cleaned the house, everything. Like I wanted to make my husband's environment perfect. And so when I found out about the affairs, I was just in complete shock because I was like, this was never supposed to happen to me. Like from the age of 5 years old, I was going to get married. I was going to have a family. And I was actually raised my whole life in a very conservative Christian environment to be the perfect wife. So when this happened to me, it was just threw my whole life into a whirlwind. It was like the rug had been swept out from underneath me. It made me question reality and really put me into a downward spiral. And when I first found out about it, I separated from my husband. And I think that this is really important for women who might be going through this, because I've seen some videos on TikTok where you're just going into this complete shell shock of like, what do I do? Like I've built a life with this person, and this is things that people don't necessarily think about. Like I've built a life with this person. I have kids with this person. Whether or not I stay or go, this person is going to be in my life forever. Sure. I basically just have been given this really unfair decision of which heart do I pick. Like I didn't ask for this, but I still have to choose an extremely difficult decision going forward, and neither one of them is what I want or pleasant. So I describe it to people that I was like, have you ever watched Avengers, and there's Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is just going crazy trying to figure out the end predicament of like Thanos and what the outcome is going to be. And he goes through all the scenarios, and he comes back and he's like, there's only one that's going to work. And I went through all these different scenarios of like the future, and if I chose this, this would happen, and I would encounter this situation. And there were just a lot of situations that I basically weighed them out. Like, this is like worse, this is this is bad, this is worse. And so which heart did I want to pick? I get that not everyone is going to be spiritual or faith-based when they go through this, but I am. And so when I went through this, I prayed, and I really cried out to God, and I just was like, Lord, what do I do? Because I don't know what to do. I went through all these scenarios in my mind, and just none of them were good. None of them led to a good outcome, or the outcome that I wanted. I was literally devastated. Like, I loved this person. This person had betrayed me and like basically put a knife in my back. Might as well have done that. And waking up to realize that the person I thought I was married to was not the person I was married to at all. So I cried out to God and I said, Lord, what do I do? And I truly heard the Lord tell me, Aileen, no matter what you decide, whether, you decide to go and you stay single, because that was a thought I had, or you decide to go and I bring someone new into your life, or you decide to stay and give him a second chance, I promise I'll bless you no matter what you decide. But if you choose to stay and give him a second chance and forgive him, I will give you something beyond what you ever could imagine. I will give you something better than what you had before. And I had this vision of a bowl that was like over Jesus's head, and he took it and he smashed it down, and I just broke into tears. And I was like, God, why would you do that? Because the bowl kind of symbolized my marriage. And he picked it up and very gently showed it to me, and he said, do you see like here on the edges where the pottery is just so thin? There's some places that are thick, but the pottery here is so thin, Aileen, that it was going to break anyway, and I had to smash it. I had to smash it in order for me to rebuild it and make it into something new. Now, I would never advise a woman ever to just like copy and mimic my story, but to honestly seek out earnestly through therapy and through prayer, if that's part of their life, what would be the best outcome, but definitely through therapy. You can't do this without therapy. I've seen women try to do it without therapy and they end up in really, really bad situations. I've seen women who try to bury it under the rug like it never happened, and if you do that, it will happen over and over and over and over again. It will never stop, and it will repeat through your life. I've seen women who do that, and I don't think that we talk enough about how triggering and how horrible the trauma is. Like literally women, if they scan your brain, they equivalent betrayal trauma and affairs to the same kind of trauma that a soldier encounters during war. It's the same exact amount of PTSD on the brain. So people don't understand the level of trauma that they're enduring. And being tough is not being stronger. Suppressing your emotions is not going to make you a stronger individual. It's going to affect the way, if you have kids, it's going to affect the way that you parent your kids. It's going to affect the way that you have future relationships with friends. And it's going to completely affect your marriage and your whole mental health life for the rest of your life. So burying it under the rug does not work. So through therapy, I worked with my counselor in setting boundaries, like what was acceptable to me and what wasn't acceptable to me. So I set those boundaries very clearly with my husband before he ever came back home. And I said, if you're going to come back home and, I forgive you, I'll give you a second chance. But these are the things that are going to have to change in order for us to move forward. And if you're not willing to do these things, I'm fine with that. Like I said it in a very calm voice. I was like, absolutely, it's your decision. If you do or do not want to do these things, but if you choose not to, we will not be having a marriage or relationship, and we will be getting a divorce. So we worked on a diagram of like gray, yellow, and red, and what these boundaries would look like from gray, yellow to red. Like if he crossed the yellow line, we would be having a discussion. If he crossed the red line, that would be the end of the relationship. I also wanted proof of those boundaries. So obviously, like one of my very stern boundaries was that the communication with the affair partners would be cut off immediately. And I wanted proof that the affairs had been cut off immediately. So my other boundary, and some people might find this triggering, was no more corn usage. And I had therapy, attending SA meetings, breaking off with the affair partners, and no more corn usage. And these boundaries were so impactful in our healing, and I needed to see these things. I needed to see these improvements without me babying him, without me mothering him. I needed to see him take accountability and do his own growth, his own work in order to stay. I needed to see him go from being a boy to a man, because I wasn't going to endure it anymore where I had to constantly reassure him and constantly stay on top of him and constantly monitor him. I'm not his mother. I didn't want to do that. But in order for us to have healing, that had to happen first. And so most people might find like no corn usage is really triggering and disagree with me. However, and I wish more women were aware of this because I wasn't, your husband or spouse, a man, more than likely will have an affair on you in your lifetime if he is looking at corn, because corn is just a bridge to that. When they're addicted to it, and they go through their own trauma, their own stress, their own triggering moments, and the board is set up, correctly, more than likely they will have an affair. And that was something that our therapist told us about. So that was one of my other firm boundaries. But, you know, looking back, I'm just so amazed because God did fulfill that promise. Here we are. It's difficult for me to talk about because it is really hard to revisit the past. So if people are like, oh my gosh, she's not happy because of like her tone of voice and everything. No, I am really happy. Like God has blessed us tremendously. Like we got an incredible home. Our kids are doing so much better. Our home life is so much more peaceful. Our marriage has never been stronger. In fact, it was one of, and this is hard for me to say because when people told me this in the beginning, I did not want to hear it, but it honestly was one of the best things that happened to our marriage because our marriage is so much stronger now, and he has become such a more empathetic and caring husband and really taken the time to do all that work. He has remained steadfast in this. Even here we are in year 3, and he is still doing all that work. He is still a part of all those programs I asked him to be part of. So I just share this, that there is hope for healing. And if women have any questions, I really want to help women who are going through this because there was nobody really there to share their journey with me.
Yet to see a man come on and say how God saved my marriage after my wife had an affair with multiple men. How God saved my marriage after my wife gave me 4 children that are not mine. I'm yet to see videos of how men are going to come out to say how I saw Jesus Christ saved my marriage after my wife cheated on me, left the house, cheated on me, did so many things. I am yet to see that video because even a little disrespect to your man is sending you out of the house. Like, get out. Okay, you don't even have to cheat on him. This is disrespect. You are out. So I just feel like it is only women that see God. It is only women that are closer to God the way it is. Easy. This video made me remember a video that of this woman, spiritual whistleblower. I'm going to find the video. We might talk about the video later, but not in this video, where she was saying that most men are not really religious. They're just, deceiving us because most men that are in the Christian home, they are the ones that cheat more. And you know why they do that? Because they marry women that are spiritual, women that are closer to God, because they know that they will forgive them whatever they do. So it's kind of like a manipulation. They kind of go to the altar, they go to church, they go to God and tell the pastor to bless their marriages. They want God to bless marriages, but then they're the ones that go out there to cheat. They betray the vows that they had with God and with their partner. If you can betray God, who is your partner that you cannot betray? Who is your wife that you cannot betray? So it shows that they're not actually religious. They're just doing it because they want the women that are religious to always still stay in the relationship with them, even if they are being dusty. Went to our page to really check the kind of content. Maybe it was just like a random video, but then this content that she has on her videos on her page, whereby she was like, when she was going through something like that, why she's sharing her stories, because when she was going through something like that, she didn't see anybody talking about things like this, and she just want to help women that are in her shoes that needs help. So she's kind of explaining to us. Some women are asking questions: how did you do it? Why did you stay? What happened? So she's kind of going further and further to talk about it, answering comment section and talking about her life, because she wants other women that might be in that same situation and don't want to leave to know what to do. And she kind of said something that I agree with, which is, you have a child with this man, so you're still going to be connected with him with or without the child. So that one I agree with. So then she's trying to pick which is the hardest for her. Should she still stay in the relationship, knowing that she will still be in touch with him, or she should be out of the relationship knowing that she will still be in touch with him because of the child. The part that she said she saw Jesus Christ, no comments. One thing about these men is they do not change. The one that showed you that he cheats and you forgive him, hug him, and tell him that, don't worry, I'll give you a second chance. She said multiple women, I think 4 women, I can't remember. So this is not even a second chance to me. This is just another chance, not a second chance. These are the ones you knew. That's what you don't know. I just feel like if you embrace and forgive this kind of people, they do not change. It gives them that boldness to continue, and they blame you later and say, why didn't you leave? If you know you were not happy with the way I was, they'll tell you, why didn't you leave earlier? They'll tell you, this is who I am, or they will still ask for forgiveness and expect you to also forgive. I just hope she knows that it might not change, and things like this will still go on and on and on in the relationship. I hope she has that at the back of her mind while she was giving him boundaries not to cross, so that when something like this happen again, she's already at her last and she doesn't have to go to therapy to get better. What is your take on Christian women that come out to say God restores their marriage, but we do not see Christian men or pastors that come out to say God restored their marriages? I'm yet to see. And even if I say I don't want to see one, I want to see a lot, because there are a lot of women that talk about how God restored their marriages. And the thing is, people are already saying cheating is no longer a deal breaker anymore. They can be in a relationship even though their partner is cheating on them. So this makes sense to some people, because they're like, if it's cheating, there's nothing wrong with it, right? What is your take on today's video? Kindly share your thoughts down in the comment section. Respectfully, Sugar Maria Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell so you can get notified once I upload another interesting video. And I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.